executive summary of the report, and then you would have just had circulated a more detailed activities report of the 12 months, which really just gives you a sense of all the activities that we've undertaken across the whole period, and how this district has been represented throughout those activities. I've done that sort of approach before, and I know that it's of value for you to actually see exactly what goes on in more detail. But just quickly, the tourism industry has had, as Don said, a very good year. It's been considered the rock star, or kind of the stellar sector driving our economy at this point in time. We're seeing tremendous growth in tourism, tremendous growth in international visitor arrivals. We've actually just hit the 3 million mark of international visitors to New Zealand, and expenditure is well up. So you'll see here 20%. I think when I looked at the July figures more recently, it was up 28%. So that's very good for us. We must remember that we have, as an industry, also come off some fairly challenging times. You've heard me speak for years previously about how tough it's been, but it's certainly turned the corner. It's great that we're in growth mode, especially given what's happening in the dairy sector at this point in time, and of course that growth is expected to continue. In terms of investment into our activities, we received $415,000 of cash investment from our tourism operators, and then brought in about $70,000 of in-kind. So roughly about $485 of support, in addition to the support that we get from our local government partners. As you know, last year we developed a 10-year strategy on how we're going to grow the sector to $1.35 billion over the next 10 years. And I met with you a couple of times through the LTP looking at what was required to reach that growth target. And as a result of that, our request for additional investment, of which, as Don said, we're very appreciative of your support there. We've hosted a huge number of international media through the region. You'll see some examples in the detailed report there of the media articles that have featured this district. We've also hosted and trained over 300 travel trade agents. I had my marketing manager in Auckland for 2 days, training over 400 Australian agents on what's on offer in our region. We've continued our partnership as part of the Explore Central North Island, so that's the cluster of regional organisations in the Central North Island working together in long-haul markets. And we also hosted Trends in Rotorua, which I think was around the time that I might have seen you last. So, which is New Zealand's largest trade show. That was a Central North Island hosted event. We had 2 major events in the city, and obviously in the greater region, and with Cricket World Cup in February and March, and then with FIFA, which happened in May, June. And last year we underwent a full development of our website. Our tourism website, in fact, was 5 years old, so that was a significant piece of work to move to an open source platform which enables us to update and manage that in-house. The technology that it was built in, things moved very quickly, so it was good to be able to rebuild and refresh our look and feel. Just looking in terms of our service level agreement across our key indicators there, in terms of growth of market share, in terms of guest nights in the region. Still got a bit of work to do there in terms of just getting a bigger part of that pie. In terms of Convention Bureau as well, so this is delegate days as a result of people conferencing in our region here. We saw a drop. You'll see that the target there that we had aimed for was 11%. We saw a drop in delegate days into our region, and the primary reason for that is there was a change in the data set and how that was collected. So up until previously, they used to collect trade and exhibition activity that was open to the public. They've now decided to exclude that. So what that meant is that an event like Field Days is no longer included in that data set, and A&P shows and home shows. So that happened in trade and exhibition space throughout our region, like Mystery Creek and Coollands, etc. That data used to be collected. They've now taken that out because they don't consider that to be a business or conference-based event, and so that's impacted our data. So everybody had a shift, of course, because that had not only just happened to our region but across the country, but ours was more noticeable because of the scale of those events that take place in the facilities. In terms of international expenditure, as you've heard from me, we've been performing very well in international expenditure over the last 12 months, and we've seen an increase there. We're well above the New Zealand trend. Domestic expenditure, we're still below the New Zealand trend. We've had a little bit of an improvement there, But it's still indicative of the fact that a lot of visitors coming to our region are staying with friends and family, not necessarily staying in commercial accommodation. And we also have a shortage of products specifically focused on the domestic market that enables them to spend money with us. A lot of the stuff in our region is free currently. So that's one of the reasons why that domestic expenditure is not performing in regards to as well as the national trend. The website, as I said, has continued to grow. We will see that further increase with the redevelopment. And as I said, the actual industry and investment in our activities has been strong once again this year. So just looking quickly at markets, and I'll whip through today. The details are all in front of you, but we'll just give a quick snapshot there. We've seen growth out of all markets. The stellar performers, China, you'll see there 30%. The good news about China, when I've spoken to you recently, the median length of stay of Chinese visitors to New Zealand was about 4 days. That shifted to 8 days. So that's a significant shift in a very short period of time. So the value out of the Chinese market is much better for New Zealand, and we're seeing more independent Chinese visitors coming through, which is great for regions like ourselves. So they're not necessarily all sitting on coaches now on their way south to Rotorua. They're independent driving, causes some challenges in another way on our roads, but they've got more time and more opportunity to explore what we've got to offer. The other stellar that we're seeing here is India. Really good growth out of India. Indian visitors are great because they tend to come in the shoulder seasons, and they also travel in larger family groups and have quite a bit of money to spend. US has come back strongly again. UK, only small growth here. It's been tough out of the UK, and so it's starting to rebound, but there's certainly room for improvement. Just looking quickly at the data, so top corner is international expenditure, Waikato in blue, so you can see how well we're performing. That's the Hobbiton effect. And then domestically, we're in the blue, so again, this is showing where we've obviously still got a gap to bridge there. And then this is just guest nights across the region, and we've performed well. So we've been up with international guest nights, we've been up with domestic guest nights, but once again, it's just that discretionary spend around attractions and activities where we still have some work to do. Just quickly looking through, so short escape campaigns, this one we ran in October, November. It was about outdoor activities with a skew towards cycling. So some examples of the creative that will all look very familiar to you. And then in terms of the product in this region, obviously the river trails, the mountain bike park, and the Blue Spring, which is one of our most visited pages on our website. It's quite incredible. And we ran another short escapes campaign, so this is to external audiences, people living outside the Waikato region. And our focus for this campaign was around all the events that were going on in the region during this time. So summer escapes around the events, and of course this is leveraging off the range of festivals and concerts, plus of course the cricket that was happening in Hamilton, as well as your event that you had going on here, we showcased the generator as well. So it's all about getting up close to the action with the amount of things on offer in the region.